As kind of a brief follow-up to the suicide episode, just a couple episodes back, what I wanted to follow up and say is that, I told you it's your responsibility if you're having these suicidal ideations, instead of reaching out to me, instead of reaching out to your friend Joe, instead of reaching out to whoever, to take advantage of the professional resources. And I got to thinking about that and my own experience with dealing with those folks. And I wanted to say that I know that it can be frustrating. When you're in that kind of state, you're really looking for genuineness, aren't you? You're looking for genuineness in another person, and you oftentimes don't find it immediately when you reach out to these professional groups. And I understand that. It doesn't mean you should stop. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, and doesn't mean you should give up. You got to keep in mind and be reasonable that these folks, first of all, it's a very emotionally taxing job for them to have. Also, I don't know how many calls like that they're getting every day, but I would imagine probably, depending on the areas, hundreds of people calling in, and the same people doing their best to help. But it's emotionally exhausting. It's taxing. Think about, have you ever worked in a factory? I have, where it's just repetitive and repetitive and repetitive. And you start off full of zeal. You're with pride in your work, and you're really wanting to do it right. But what happens after you're there for 3 weeks, a month, and you're doing repetitive things, right? It's human nature to begin to, I don't want to say grow calloused, but grow calloused. Sort of lumping the whole experience, all the calls, into the same type of call. I worked in a cabinet making factory for just a short time, maybe 6 months. It wasn't I couldn't deal with it, but that's what I remember, doing the exact same repetitive thing all day long with these cabinets. At first I found it kind of interesting, but it didn't stay interesting for very long. It just got repetitive, and pretty soon I stopped seeing these cabinets as individual cabinets. To me, it was just a cabinet. It was just the same cabinet, every one that come down the line. So this doesn't just apply to people who are feeling suicidal or having suicidal ideation. What I want to tell you is, don't give up. Be fair to these people. Give them the benefit of the doubt that they really do care, but they're just people, and they have limits, right? As people, they're doing this, and it's extremely exhausting, taxing emotionally, and it can be hard to find that person who you feel makes a genuine connection with you. That's not an excuse to stop, and it ain't an excuse to give up. You need to keep calling. If the first person that I don't want to say hook up with, but the first person that you connect with, you don't feel like you're getting what you need from them, that genuineness, that sincerity, that connection, keep reaching out to more people. Don't give up after the first person. Earlier I said that when I criticize the professional community as a group, it's them as a group that I'm criticizing. Does that mean that you shouldn't go find a good therapist? No, it just means you're going to have to try harder than just first call you make. I know from personal experience that for me, first call I made, that was the person I expected to answer all my questions and be able to save me. It was my mistake in thinking that. It was my mistake in not understanding the reality of that reality. So it's important for all of you. If you're looking for a therapist, if you're trying to find somebody, one of these professional groups to help you with this suicidal ideation or whatever, to think or to be dead set on the idea that the very first person you call is it, is the wrong attitude to have. The proper attitude is, if the first person isn't a good fit, I'll just keep going until I find the right person. Barnett says that I got to keep working, got to keep looking for that person. They're out there. They are out there, but you got to keep looking for them. That's your responsibility to do that. So I just wanted to throw that in there for kind of as a addendum to the suicide conversation. And it doesn't just apply to suicide again. It applies to anybody looking for somebody. Orange Slices are brief highlights from the Last Symptom podcast. Subscribe to full audio episodes of the show on any major podcast platforms such as Spotify, Pandora, iTunes, Amazon Music, and more. While I've got you chewing on that, like this video, pretty please. Might as well press subscribe while you're at it. I bet you a nickel you know somebody who's overdue for hearing some of these things, so go on, forward this video to them.